Welcome to Blastzone Mike's FireRock TV show, and today I have two amazing guests. They put together a movie, and we're going to talk about this movie. Go ahead, guys, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jim Storm, and I play the character of Donald Trump.
And I'm Joe Barber, and I play the character of director and producer. And I'm happy to be here at Blastzone, Mike. It's thank you for having us on the podcast.
No problem, man. So I guess I'll start with you, Joe. Uh, what made you get into the movie business?
I lived in Philadelphia when I started, and I had good friends in the Philadelphia Film Festival, and I uh, I had a house that was good for parties, and so it was a huge place, and I had whenever a celebrity came to town, we had a fundraiser for the film festivals on our at the house, and and then I started had an idea for a documentary, so I made a documentary in 2008. It's electile dysfunction, just to make just to make that certain, and with an L. And that was my introduction. It was a documentary, and and then I'd bought this. I'd bought the domain, prisonertrump.com in 2017, and it was only this year that I thought, that's a pretty good name for a movie too. So I developed it into a movie, and that's the story of the origin of my movies career.
Whoa, Jim, how did you get into the business?
Well, I come from a third generation of theatrical people, and my grandparents were in silent films back in the day before Hollywood was even there, up in Santa Barbara. They did what they called 5-minute reelers. And then they heard about Hollywood and they moved down there. And my grandfather was an actor with a company called, oh God, oh gee, it's just skipped my mind. Anyway, Max Sennett bought the studio, S&A studio. And later on, Charlie Chaplin came aboard. And so I followed that kind of. My parents were both in the theater. My dad was a director before he became a writer, and my mom was uh, by S&A. They wanted her to. They were trying to groom her as Mary Pickford's competition, and she was a very striking young lady. And but she did. She was living it. She didn't really want to be involved with that kind of business. So, but then, I started acting when I was 6 years old. And I went down to give the gift to baby Jesus and fell over and woke up in the hospital with appendicitis. And so much attention was given to me that I thought, well, hey, this isn't a bad gig. So I started, kind of from that level.
And you are known for being on what soap opera?
Well, I've done a lot of them. The famous one that I did was Dark Shadows. That was in the late '60s, early '70s, and I did that. But I've done a whole host of One Life to Live. I've done Bold and Beautiful, General Hospital, Secret Storm, Days of Our Lives, Sunset. Sunset Beach and Texas, and that was in that's. I've done a lot of soaps.
Yeah, one of my best friends is Victor Miller. Do you know Victor, who wrote
No,
for like Young and the
if I
Restless?
saw the face, Mike, I might know him, but off the top of my head, no, I don't.
He's the one who wrote the first script for Friday the 13th. He's the one who created
Oh,
Friday the
okay.
13th.
Well, there you go.
I think he worked for Bold and Beautiful what's the one? What was that one with the little short dude on it? That they stopped the movie Santa Barbara or whatever. I think
Oh, Santa Barbara. Yeah, I did a shot on that too. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's the amazing thing. Jim was on two soap operas at the same time that were running at the
yeah.
same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man,
Right across the hall, I would go from one to the other, back and forth. Yeah.
What were the names of them?
That was Bold and Beautiful and Young and the Restless.
Yeah, major soaps.
so
Yep.
maybe Victor wrote for you back when you were on the
He
air.
may
You know,
have. They came and went so quickly. The writers were there, and so I don't remember.
and we lost the great Drake Hosting here recently, who played John Black on Days of Our Lives. So
Right.
what a loss to the Days of Our Lives family that
Yeah.
was.
There's a lot of them that have gone. It. I have a very dear friend who's still on the show, but yeah, there's been a few passing.
It's really sad. Well, let's get back into this. So, what was the catalyst for you to say, I want to make a movie about Donald Trump?
Well, it's I'm not going to say it's not my political leanings. It's some of my political leanings, and I just thought, what a catchy name, and what an idea to kind of speak, truth to power, to show, the different, a different take on Donald Trump. It was, it was. I know there's a lot of comedy that happens around the subject, and I thought this is my take. I don't think that I, I don't think he's a stupid man. I think and the script, he's not stupid. He's got other qualities that may not we don't like, but but I thought, he's a smart man, and I wanted to show just a satire, something amusing. The country is very divided right now, as we all know, and I just thought that here's something that takes a stance, has an opinion, and states it, and so people I think respond more to on these very hot button issues to to somebody who's not afraid to say what they want to say about it. It's it's a fraught time, and people are nervous, and people are we've had some problems with with some cast and crew, some distributors who are afraid of touching a hot button topic. And so this was, but it's important to show that, some people aren't afraid and are bold enough, like Jim, like, the whole cast and crew, to put our faces out there and take a stand. And I think that appeals more to people than a more balanced. Sometimes it appeals more to people than a balanced portrait. I'm thinking, The Apprentice is a more balanced portrait of it, and it didn't do very well. I think it got hurt because it was a little bit more centrist than my movie. I'm not like directly competing. This isn't a biopic; it's fiction, but hopefully, it's an amusing fiction, and people respond to it.
What do you think? Why'd you come on board, Jim, to do it?
Uh, well, I I I wanted to work, and I wanted to. I got a call from Barbara Chapman, and who's I've known for quite some time, and she said, this is available, and she explained it to me, and she said, we'd like to have you on board, and I don't know, I just thought, well, let's give it a shot. I'm not a Donald Trump type. I am certainly not connected with it in any way, physically or anything like that. So it was a challenge, and we had a very short time to pull this together, and And so I just thought, let's make a challenge out of this and go for it. So, and one of the things, whether you like the man or whether you dislike the man, you always try to find something that you can attach to, and I think Joe hit it right on the head. He's not a stupid guy. And I think this is what the film is trying to show. He's a businessman, and he's a manipulator in ways. And so it was just a challenge. It was a real challenge to take it on.
I got to say, Jim did such a great job of nailing him, nailing his mannerisms and his look. Makeup did incredible jobs, but it was also Jim's facial expressions and all that was just really on the nose for portraying somebody like that. It was a really great job, and I'm so thankful to Jim for
thank you,
doing
Joe.
such a great job.
I really appreciate it, Joe. Thank you.
You say that your distributors and people eventually didn't want to be involved, but every Saturday Night Live's Hot Open is about Trump and about Paris and about Biden and all that. Like, I just watched one where they did Family Feud. I mean, they don't go Trump or go, Democrat. They're making fun of both most of the time. It's like, yeah. But I understand. I'm in a business. I work for a record label, and I know people who do movies. And, I've always heard that if you're in the movie business, if you weren't a Democrat, you could be blackballed from the industry. And, I've got friends, some that stand up and say they're Republicans because they just don't care to voice their opinion. And, I used to voice my opinion, but now, I'm a part of something bigger. So I don't voice my opinion as much, Yep. And so I understand both sides of that, why you would want to stand up for what you think and why you would be like, oh, I just need to get away from this. I can't do it, So
I also wanted to add have a good story and have something that was watchable and enjoyable, even outside of politics. It's a big world, and there are people around the world that I think, internationally, that will find this interesting and find it a good take on, on current politics. And I'll tell you, the movie is kind of a metaphor for the Donald Trump years, the presidency. He's running for office. He makes it into office. He manipulates. He does. He runs the economy, creates things, and then COVID happens. It's kind of it runs through the course of. It's a metaphor for like Trump's presidency, and I think it's just a nice story that will that people will appreciate, and people will hopefully find it amusing because Republicans and Democrats, we all see who he is, and I think that except for the most. The most partisan. I think that you could see that there is a lot of truth in Jim's performance of it. And it's the truth that I think that, that's available and understood by both sides. And people can appreciate, that truth and can enjoy it and say, yeah, because, even if you're partisan, you kind of, you find, you could find Trump funny. I think, Republicans think that, Trump himself is a comedian. He's a hilarious person. He does have a lot of comedic chops. And the Democrats will think, that he's silly. But I think it all depends on where you're coming from when you watch a movie like this.
Well, let's take a look at the trailer real quick.
The following motion picture is rated F for fake news. It's satire, so calm down. President Donald J. Trump I am making incredible deals. Make sure it's cold as ice and do it right this time. Boys, I want you to take good care of my friend Roger here. Take him down to the lake.
The boss wants what the boss wants. That's it. Right this way.
Breaking news.
Former President Donald Trump in custody.
Shockwaves across the nation as
former President Trump is charged with murder.
I feel like there's something strange.
Well, you are in for accessory to murder, boss.
I didn't even want to kill him, you know.
I'm Leela V. Harris, the warden.
Well, maybe it's a no for dinner with Morgan.
Professor of African American Studies.
Do you have any normal American studies department? Welcome to the new Trump empire. Where you from?
I was born in USSR.
Love the Russians. Love the Russians.
You've heard of the gold standard. This is the cupcake standard. Donald De Niro.
Don't say De Niro in front of me.
Trump is a businessman. I mean, he might be able to make things a little bit better around here.
Let's make this prison great again.
You're crazy, but I love you. Welcome to my world.
My world.
Great.
Okay, well, that was pretty fascinating.
Thank you.
How long did it take to make this movie?
This was a pretty quick movie. It, from, and we're doing it by the seat of our pants, but I think it was, 4 or 5 months from conception to now. And that's an incredibly quick, short period of time to make a movie, especially, feature-length film. And, it was kind of at the heat of the moment. Some things could have been better planned with a little bit more time. It's coming out a little bit late into the election season, later than I would have liked. But it was not a years long dream to make this particular movie.
Did you edit it yourself?
No. We had a great editor, really fantastic editor, Theo Cardenas, and he just nailed it. He did the pacing and the timing and the jokes. Just he added so much to it, and I really appreciate what Theo did.
Yeah, he did a very nice job with it. It's cut real well.
So, Jim.
Yeah.
What do you think of all this, man? I mean, you've been in the business, like we talked about, for quite a while. I mean, your family, like you said.
I have a couple of things that I'm waiting to hear about. And that's why I have a beard. And also I have a passion with photography. So I'm going off my wife and I go off on the road, and she's a photographer in her own right. And going off to shoot. We've been shooting the western scenes from Texas to Montana to even Nebraska. We did a whole series of rodeos. We did 26 rodeos in one season. But I'd been shooting rodeos prior to that for several years. So I have stuff that I'm always busy with something, and I hope this one film comes through, because it's a great part, and I can't talk too much about it.
Let me see your face in a square.
Okay.
You know what you need to do? You need to be in a biopic for Mel Gibson, because I swear,
they always said Jack Nicholson.
It's more Mel Gibson with that beard, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, if I could say something, I want to give a shout out to JimStormPhotography.com, because Jim's a great actor, but he's also a great photographer, and I think, he's got some amazing images, a very creative man all around.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, we got to get you in the Mel Gibson biopic, man. That way you can be like doing that crazy shit he did in Road Warrior.
Oh yeah. I'd like that, man. That'd be fun. That'd be
Yeah,
fun. I'd
I
like to
remember
work
doing
with him. Besides all the problems that he's had and everything, he's a wonderful. He's an absolutely sensational director, and it would be wonderful to work with him. But we'll see.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid going to see Road Warrior, and my mom didn't know what it was. We went to like the drive-in, and as soon as the guy got pulled apart by the car, she's like, "No, we're out." I'm like, "Whoa, wait!" So,
Mel's never pulled apart.
I mean, but movies. You were mentioning before we came on about the pandemic. We had very few things to watch. I mean, like I just did an interview yesterday with the guy from the Tiger King, John Rinke, who
Oh,
had no
really?
life.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, the pandemic and how do you think Tiger King would have been as big as it is if it was for the pandemic? And, that's what helped that show. That's what helped some of the movies that came out on Netflix.
Yeah.
Things
especially
like that
documentaries, because you remember there was the SAG strike around then too.
Yeah, and another documentary I remember is the pharmacist, the guy who created the computer program to find out if you're going doctor shopping. He helped create that and stuff. Uh, it was a time period, man, where we didn't know if there's going to be movies again.
That's very true. Yeah.
You've been an actor, Jim. What did you think? How did you survive?
Well, I streamed a lot of films. I streamed a lot of television series and stuff like that. I think, doing the film that we just finished with the Donald Trump film. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. What was encouraging to me, and I've done it on several other films, is I've watched, people pulling together to do this. There's not a lot of money involved. Certainly, there's not a lot of money involved. But these young people put together, they worked. I mean, one was doing lights while the other one was doing hair. They would reverse it. They were helping people move things around. The DP was just, excellent. Always asking questions on how to fulfill this particular shot. I mean, it was really a labor of love from everybody, and I'm not saying it to be, kind of Pollyannish. It was encouraging for me to see these young people out there doing what they love to do, and I really think that we're going to see a massive wave within the next 5 years of independent films. It all comes around in a circle, and we're going to start seeing a lot better films being made. The comic book films are going to be something of the past, and young people are really want to, use this art form, and it's fantastic. It's really exciting to watch.
If it weren't for independent film, there would be no film during the pandemic.
Well, that absolutely.
Walmart was full of independent films because I think the last major film that was in the theater was The Invisible Man. With
really,
Mom.
okay, I can't remember.
Film in the theater. AMC and all of them thought they were never going to survive.
Well,
because
and AMC bounced back. I mean, they held on and they did a great job. Yeah, I don't know where the actual construction of the cinema is going to go. I think it's going to, they set up their homes and rooms with large TVs, and this is the movie industry, and I think that's the way it's going to go. I think eventually it'll be a few theaters left, but for special occasions.
When you see a movie like Terrifier 3 come out, it's the number one movie last week. It's the number 3 movie this week, and it was an independent movie that they made 1 and 2 on a budget of nothing. Now they're the number one movie in the country last week because Cinemark picked them up. It's like, It's unheard of. The last movie, some of the last movies that was Blair Witch Project.
Yep, yep. And then
Uh,
after that, but it's also picked up the genre, the horror genre, and the mystery and stuff. And that's encouraging too. I mean, they're very. We just saw a film before we left for Europe, and I was just amazed. It took him 2 years to put it together, but the cutting of the film was just. I mean, it's fantastic. It was a
and
fantastic.
With like Terrifier, that's all practical effects. They don't use any CGI.
Yeah.
In any of those movies. Well, do you have anything else to talk about before we go? I mean, is there anything else you want to get out?
I would just like to, thank you for giving us the time to say things about our industry. And I think Joe has got to be commended completely on how he's handled this entire operation. He was there every second of the time. Questions were asked, and there was no freak out. It was just let's talk about it and let's do it. It was a very commendable job that he's done, and I that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. I really appreciate that. And
You
thank
bet,
you, Mike,
man.
for the opportunity to talk to you and your audience. And I just want to say, hope people like the film. You can see it. You can stream it at prisonertrump.com. No spaces, no underscores. And I hope that people enjoy it and have a wonderful day.
You too, Joe.
And thank you very much, Jim. And thank you, Mike.
Mike, thank you so much. It was nice meeting you.